I started my political career like political career 2 years. It's a shocker. But I got involved. That's where it goes back to where I got involved in politics. They were putting the Ukrainian war broke out, and in 22 was it? The back in 21 could be 22.
So that kind of starts it off. Just we'll get into that. Just kind of starts off with COVID. So COVID came in 2020.
Yeah.
And then obviously that leads into what we were just after saying there. So when COVID started in 2020, what were your initial thoughts of COVID 2020 when it came? Because I think it's such a big moment in human history that I like to ask people, okay, what did you think of it? How did you feel about it? What did you think of the people around you? Did they feel the same as you? Did you chat about it, or was it just...
It wasn't that you chatted about it, but you were watching. See, I was big into the news at the time. I trusted the news at that time.
Yes.
I do not anymore. At that time, I trusted Irish Independent. I'd buy it every day, and I'd also watch the 6 o'clock news in the evening if I was in from work, and I'd watch the 9 o'clock news. Like that was religiously. And I trusted RTE and I trusted Prime Time. And I was watching it, and I didn't want to take the injection. I didn't want to take the injection. And I remember I was buying windows and I had to go to England, to Blackburn, because I'm in the construction. And yeah, I didn't realise you had to do a whatever test to go there. And I was apprehensive getting that stuck up.
PCR, isn't it?
Yeah, PCR test. But I felt, you know freedom. Your freedom was taken away from us. Yeah. Our liberty was taken away from us. And the only way you could get your liberty back was by taking the injection and you would get like a passport. They gave you a piece of paper.
And did you ever have a conversation, say, with your wife or your kids about, I'm not taking this, or I am taking it? Was it just kind of like, Asher, I'll take it? They're kind of telling me this is what we have to do.
Yeah, well, I was still reluctant to take it because I didn't trust it. Because I felt, well, like, how's an injection going to sort out your problems? But it wasn't from that side. But then I seen Leo Varadkar, which I did trust at the time. Yeah. I'll be honest, I very much trusted him, and because he was a doctor, a professional, and others in RT, Claire Byrne and all these people. And you're watching these people and you respect them. And at the time I respected them, and you trusted them, and you seen they were taking it. Well, what we thought they were taking it. Were they taking it? I don't really know. We don't know. And I says, sure, look at them, they're taking it on RTE, and sure, RTE wouldn't do that. See, the trust we had for RTE was unreal. And the trust we had for the likes of our senior politicians was unreal too. We trusted the system. Where I was one of them that trusted. They wouldn't do.
But I would say a lot of people do, like I did as well. Like so, like this is. I think a lot of people are afraid to say they did maybe made a wrong choice or whatever it is. It's okay to admit that. Like we've all made wrong choices. But when you kind of go into Ireland, like you said, you watch the 6 o'clock. It's kind of like nearly like a ritual, nearly in its own kind of a way. You're kind of bred into that from your family, from your grandparents, from your parents. And that's trust them. You have Gay Byrne, you have these kind of likeable characters in front of you. There's a bond, like there's a reason they put some of these people, I'm not saying Gay Byrne, but I'm just saying people like, you grow with kind of like, oh, that I know, it's nearly kind of like part of your family, like, oh, there's your man, I know him, he's doing the 6 o'clock and this is doing the 9 o'clock. Yeah. You're kind of comfortable with that person.
You trusted them. Yeah. You built up, as you say, a friendship, you respect, and you trusted your politicians. Yeah. It was trust. And see, the reason why you trust them, because you say RTE wouldn't verify them. If the politicians were doing something wrong, you found that RTE would sort of, ask the real questions. But little did we know that RTE were in on all the scams. Yeah. Basically, they're in on all this. They're
propaganda. Really.
It's a propaganda wing, as we've learned, for the government, and that's why I didn't run with that. I didn't believe in that. I didn't believe RTE were working with the government. I did not. I thought they were independent. But then, as you went along and you seen all the things that were going wrong with the vaccine, when I got elected,
So when you're going to get the vaccine, you might be asking, like, did you see maybe people, like, did anyone tell you, oh, you shouldn't take that? Did you meet anyone saying, like, oh no, don't do that, or what did you think?
My own son, at Moss, wouldn't take it.
And were you angry with him?
No, I just because he went to go down for a pint. He used to get a pass and whatever to go down or whatever. Yeah. And
did you say to him, like, why are you thinking? Don't be listening to that kind of stuff.
That's a lot of the reason why people took it. And like, I remember asking a member of the family when they first announced the rollout, they're talking about and all that, and you know, they didn't really laugh at the prospect that they were going to take this jab coming out, because people knew that, you know, it takes a certain number of years to develop these things. These jab was rolled out in 4, 5, 6 months. Yeah. And then they really laughed at the prospect. But once they found out that they couldn't get into the pub or go on holiday, and that did put a lot of pressure on people.
Yeah, it was your freedom was taken. Yeah, they took our freedom. We couldn't go anywhere, and then you were looking, is it going to do any damage to me? Yeah, and then what they done, Clearburn and Turbertree, I blame them. Turbertree, particularly Gayburn, Clearburn, and Leo Varadkar and these guys, because he was a medical practitioner. He was
Luke O'Neill and these.
Yeah, and Luke O'Neill. But I know he was. I always had a feeling not to trust him because he looked to do.
All you have to do is look at him. Yeah. Like he's like a character.
I mentioned rock music. And I said,
would I buy a car off?
No, he was like one of these dodgy salesmen. But when Clearburn, you would respect her, and you would have respected Turbertree, and you would have respected these other people in RTE. And then you see Leo Varadkar, which was a doctor, and you trusted. He was pushed, but then this is where the trust was, and is no more. You seen that RTE, these people were supposed to be checking out the politicians and everything else, and they were verifying this. They told us that this is perfect and this is okay,
safe and effective.
That's
all I ever remember hearing here. Safe and effective. Like it was nearly programmed to beat that into people.
There was that catchphrase, and there was also trust the experts.
Trust the science.
There's that word again, trust. Trust the experts, trust the science. Yeah. It's all based on trust.
Yeah, think about it. All their wording and all the push was on it. Yeah. And there was nobody in media, I know we've seen people on podcasts and things like that, but there was nobody in the trusted sphere like KFM or the Leinster Leader, any of these. There was no one saying, hold on lads, you shouldn't really be taking this.
There was no opposite voice.
It's not verified.
There's actually a doctor not too far, well, I don't know if he's too far, but in Kildare anyway. Dr. Waters was his name. Was he set up in Southbridge? Was he or something?
Dr. Jerry Waters, yeah.
Yeah. I was working away one day, and the radio was on in the place I was working, and it was that the guy, Joe Duffy, is that his name? Yeah. And he had Dr. Waters on for an interview. But Dr. Waters was hardly allowed a word in edgeways. He'd ask Dr. Waters a question, Dr. Waters would start answering, and as soon as he started getting into anything of substance, Duffy would butt in. Butcher this, that and the other, or the whole lot. Now I think that's very underhanded, because you're taking, say, the presenter for example. He's a seasoned radio presenter. He's familiar with that environment. Yeah. And to take on somebody to discuss a controversial topic, and then it doesn't take too much to rattle somebody or to make them feel uncomfortable knowing that they're live on air, going out all over the country and the whole lot. As far as I'm concerned, they're just exploiting that to the nth degree. Yeah. And it's very difficult.
It's manipulation, really.
Yeah, it's manipulation, yeah.
Yeah, but I think
and what all I'm alluding to there is what you were referring to, that there was no opposite voice.
There was no opposite voice.
No. And there was nothing ever said, in my opinion. Like I always said to people, like there was nothing ever said that this is mRNA, this is a different type of vaccine, and how rushed it was. But it never got anything into the media or anything like that.
Well, there's plenty of grounds to do so if they wanted. Like the man who invented the RNA platform for the vaccine, Dr. Robert Malone, he supported it initially. He took the Moderna jab, and he was behind it initially. And then once it got to a certain point where he'd seen enough paperwork, he actually come out against it, and he signed on to the Great Barrington Declaration with 70,000 other medical professionals and all that. So there's one example of somebody whose voice, as far as I can recall anyway, was never once mentioned on RTE or any of the radio programmes. There was that complete lack of any opposite perspectives. Like, how were people even
See,
supposed
doctors were supposed to keep you informed.
Yeah.
Inform you. Like, the doctors didn't do the job properly.
No.
Because we're, like, in the construction, you know, we don't, like, no, you're looking out, your local doctor should have said, hold on, this is not checked out. I wouldn't go with it. They're medical professionals. It's like, I'm a carpenter, roof and all that. Someone says to me this, that and the other, I can give them advice. So you're looking to your local GP to give you advice.
Yeah.
And I thought they were very poor. Also, because they should have said, hold on a second. But go back then to the money. How much were they getting for each injection in the surgeries? How much, you know, and if they went against the vaccine, they were more or less shut down too. So they were pressurized also. So you like to see Dr. De Broom and Dr. Billy Ralph. They were more or less struck off. They've been, I don't know, they kept practicing.
There was one guy from Kilcock, he's a doctor, and he got brought up to court because he said to people like, look, I wouldn't be jumping into this. Well, they didn't lose their license, but they weren't given it, and they were up in front of the medical. I attended some of them in Dublin, some of their hearings, but they controlled it from every angle, and there was an awful lot of money in this. There was an awful lot of money. And I think you go to the receipts. How much are doctors getting for injecting it? And what happens if they talk out against it? You know, there's the two angles then of how the GPs were controlled, and they were like what they administered when people had COVID. Like, what did they administer and what should they were administering medications that were shutting down their airways. Remdesivir, isn't it?
Yeah.
And can I ask you, when you said Donegal didn't take it,
Donegal did, Tomas didn't take it.
Oh, sorry, Tomas. And just, did that cause any friction? Because I know this has happened in a few households.
Oh, it did.
Did it cause friction?
He was a bit of a black sheep, like, but he does his own thing anyway.
Right.
He does his own thing, and
did it did cause some friction, as in, like, oh, you should be getting it, like, do you ever, because this conversation is a conversation that obviously is happening in households.
It's split families.
Of course it did.
It did, but I let Tomas just do it as he wants, you know what I mean? I didn't go after him over it.
And when he didn't take it, were you like, stay away from me, or?
No.
Okay.
We didn't actually fear the COVID, because I didn't get sick. Pauline was a nurse and she came home with COVID. And I remember the army had to come, the army ambulance came. But I never got it. She got it and I was sleeping in the one room. And I never got it. And then when I got the injection, 2 weeks later I got COVID.
Okay.
I got it.
Going on,
And I took vitamin D and vitamin C at the time. I upped it when I wasn't taking it, because I was reading into things. And I was sitting, and I wasn't getting ill.
Well, I'm exactly the same. That's all I took. I took vitamin C, D, a little bit of zinc. And I never mind COVID. I didn't get any colds or flus whatsoever. During that time period. Now, wasn't there a country in South America that actually dealt with it the same way? Was it Ecuador? Was it?
Oh, there was one actually.
Where the government
was it Peru?
I can't honestly remember. I think it was Ecuador. But anyway, the standard procedure for the government was every house received a pack. With vitamin C and D in it. And that was how they responded to it.
I actually took the hydroxychloroquine. So it's Planco, that's called. So I got that and I took that. And that's actually used. That was the one actually that Trump said.
And they made a laugh.
And Dr. Zelenko had said he actually passed away. But Dr. Zelenko, he had cancer anyway, but Dr. Zelenko came up with a protocol, which is actually used now, which is the zinc and all that kind of, the upping, all that kind of stuff. And he was seeing great results. And he had, and I know that, for instance, Dr. Zelenko had been contacted by Trump. As like, you know, you're seeing results, because he was working in a huge area in New York and he was seeing massive benefit. And he said to Trump, he says, like, look, we're using hydroxychloroquine. It's used down in Africa for malaria, and they are not seem to be affected by any of this at all. And that's actually that's been used by the US military for over 60 years. They can't make money on it. So they don't want it. And then when Trump came out and said, everyone's like, oh, look at it. And then the media came out and said, hydroxychloroquine will kill you. That was literally 2 days after Trump had said it. And I said to somebody, do you really think that the president of America is going to suggest something to you that's going to kill you? Honest to God. Do you really think? I said to someone like, but see, I don't think common sense, because of the propaganda, people weren't thinking straight. Their mind is, because it's such a psychological operation that happened. The whole world was shut down. Like if you think of World War I, World War II, there was areas in the world where that didn't affect. But this thing went everywhere. Like it stopped everywhere. The smallest islands, it was there. Like this thing was so
shut down the whole planet.
The whole planet.
Yeah. And when Trump, they made a laugh at Trump when he said that, but Sir Trump was speaking the truth, you know?
Yeah.
He's living the truth.
And
we've seen afterwards. But what I want to mention, going back to that, evidence of people. A neighbour, young man, died. I had another neighbour down across from me, died. Like there's been serious damage been done. And I cannot to this day, as a politician, how come there's 40 of us over there in the chamber in Kildare County Council, and no one is dealing with this. And if you bring it up to say it's a national issue, it's not a local county council, you're to do with the bridges and the potholes and all this. This is a national issue. This needs to be discussed more. Like,
did you have any issue with the vaccine? Like, did it have any effect?
I did. Yeah, I got I developed a regular heartbeat. Yeah, and I've gone up. I've given up on all pharma since. I do not use anything. I was on Zelcro for a blood thinner, and beta blocker they gave me. That was my I take cayenne pepper.
Oh yeah, I've
seen as a blood thinner.
Yeah, I've seen
it's
that.
Only €1 in Dunn's or Tesco's. €1 do me a month or two.
We're not being sponsored by Dunn's or Tesco. So you can get the brand anywhere you want.
Yeah, but
cayenne pepper farm.
Cayenne pepper is and it's a great blood thinner. Yeah. Anyone and everyone should be using it.
Yeah.
And
I think aspirin is what they use in America.
I follow Barbara O'Neill online. Anyone there? Yeah. I follow Barbara O'Neill, and I believe in Barbara O'Neill. And if I have any ailments, I follow her as regarding what to use. And she says in the Bible, there's a little bit written in this, that and there, but in cayenne pepper, there's pages and pages. It's so good for you. Amazing. It's amazing. And I stopped using for cholesterol tablets.
Yeah.
And I've done a lot of research into that. And cholesterol I think cholesterol, take it or don't take it, could be related back to a lot of brain dementia and all that. That it takes the fat off the brain.
I heard something like that.
We need natural fat.
I've heard that people have said that. I've seen other doctors who've said that cholesterol is actually good. And that now I know we're going to have people who probably listen to this now, and they'll come for us for even discussing. But do you know, when has a conversation about, like, just the way we're having this conversation, we should be allowed to do this.
But I've lost the trust. Trust.
There you go. Yeah.
They have. I trusted. I wanted one of these lads that was not trusting. I trusted the system, but I don't trust the system. So cholesterol tablets, I haven't taken them at all. I took them for 3 months, stopped taking them. I take coconut oil and things like that and cholesterol. You need cholesterol. Something with cholesterol.
Are you feeling better now since all this?
No problem.
Yeah.
I don't. I used to be mad into doing cholesterol tests every 6 months. I don't bother now with that. I don't have any problem. I still have the regular heartbeat, but I think a big problem is coffee, and I'm a whore for coffee. And
would you think that a regular thing is definitely from the vaccine?
Well, I developed it after I got the vaccine.
Okay.
So
yeah.
Whether,
of course.
And but caffeine does rob your body from like magnesium. You need magnesium. I'm a great believer in magnesium now. So caffeine is great. It's good to kick you up in the morning, get you going, and it's like it is a drug. And we take it. We all have a couple of cups. Gets us going, gets us flying, gets the heart going, gets all the kidneys and everything going. But it does have a detrimental effect on our body. You know, I don't drink, I don't smoke, but next thing I have to give up, I've given up sugar. I have to give up
You leave
caffeine.
yourself a
I like coffee, so I ain't giving it up. I actually only started coffee in 2020, so I just got it out.
But that's why there's two sides to every equation. Like, one good thing about COVID is that it's after sparking an awakening with many people that wouldn't have had an interest in the likes of, say, taking cayenne pepper as an alternative to the other item that you mentioned there.
Yeah,
You know, it's after sparking an awakening in a number of people that otherwise wouldn't. Mm-hmm. Maybe the potential was there, maybe we're sitting on the fence a little bit, but a lot of people now are going home. Like, I met a young fella there a few years ago. I don't know him now personally, just at a kind of a party thing, and I was chatting to him, and he actually took the vaccine. He got that myocarditis condition,
which is proven, but Pfizer have admitted that.
And he went back into the doctor in the hospital and told her that he has this condition, and she said, no, it can't be. He said, what are you talking about? It's here on the official paperwork. It's here on their documents that I got it. And back and forth, and that doesn't matter. The point is, the doctor in the hospital, who's supposed to be a specialist in this, that and the other, told them, no, you must be taking cocaine or something like that to be getting these symptoms.
Jeez.
I thought that was shocking, but my point is, there's a guy now who, like so many others, trusted what he was told, and now absolutely not.
No,
he won't be taking it at face value.
And this will be the last thing. This is the last thing we say on this, but you have to. We're in the mid 2026, and that COVID vaccine is still being advertised.
Yeah,
and they given to people.
Yeah.
You know, I it's, do you know what? How is a doctor? Because I know for a fact that one doctor who I know of, who doesn't give it. I went into one day to a pharmacy, and I said to him, "Are you still giving that COVID vaccine?" Because I saw it there, a little sheet for it, and he goes, "Yeah." And I said to him, "You do know that like all the damage from that, and there's sudden deaths, and there's things coming out of it." And I said to him, like. He goes, "Oh yeah, no, I took two of them." I said, "I wasn't well after it. I had a few issues with it." And I said to him, "How can you morally, you know it's bad, how can you morally still give that to somebody?" And he said, "Well, I have to do my job."
Yeah, I read a headline
That's very sad.
It's like me going on and building a house, someone's going to fall down on top of them.
Yeah.
Like, would I build a house because I have to make money and know it's going to kill them?
That's a really good analogy, actually.
Or know it's going to... So they're weak men. The doctors are weak men. So I blame the doctors.
But morally. Morals.
Yeah, they're no morals. They're not strong men. Because, like, it's like you saying to build a house, and I'm going to build a house that's going to collapse on top of you. And it's going to kill your family, or it's going to damage them. Maybe not kill them, damage them. Would I do that? Morally, there's no way I'd do that. So I think doctors need to put their hands up. And see, it's all about control. The whole thing is controlled. Their livelihood is gone if they don't. And people will not go... See, when you go back and you study all this stuff, you go back to 19... And these are things I would never have studied. Because I absolutely was with the system. You know, my wife's a nurse. Like, we're not, like, just conspiracy theorists. I trusted up to COVID, I trusted everything. And after Leo Varadkar, and then I was touching on my job as councillor. I got involved in the graveyard in Newbridge. And there was no water. When I got elected, there was people ringing me up and saying, "Tom's no water in the graveyard." Yeah. And I said, "Let's go up and have a look and see what's going on." And I went up and had a look, and I put in temporary supply. I got a bowser and ran it off a shed, so they had water there. But it was a big job. You had to bring in the water from a road crossing, and it actually was a big job. It seemed a very small job, but it happened to be a big job. And I managed to get that done. Like several jobs, I got the toilets refurbed. I'm getting a road crossing there. I got the works thing done up. I cut back and I got a little committee going there, and I started doing work in the graveyard. But in my time working in the graveyard, I was looking at the headstones and the ages, because our land in Mayo was a graveyard, a compulsory purchase. And we used to spend a lot of time, I don't know, in our childhood looking at headstones and that sort of thing, because it was on our land. And I'd be looking at the headstones and we'd say, what year did that lad die, and what year did that person die, and you be seeing that they're related, or things like that going through your head. And I started to look at the graveyard, the headstones, and 47.
Yeah, they died very young back then.
11.
Yeah.
No, in this since COVID.
Alright.
Yeah, 11 years of age. I know, going back to what you're saying, you had TB and all that before that cures for it. Now, and that's another thing with pharma, but since the vaccine came out, the 21 headstones, if you go through them, the young age of the people.
I've seen videos of
is, now, if I videoed in Newbush Graveyard, you go in and go over to the new part on the left hand side when you walk in the gates, new part, and just look at the headstones. There was a woman up there one morning, she was crying, poor thing. And I just went up to her and I was trying to help her. Saying there was water organised down the bottom, and then she started crying, I nearly started crying. Then I went up and I looked, and there's all little windmills on the headstone, on the grave. And her daughter was only 11.
Oh, Jesus.
And then I started looking at them all.
Yeah.
And within about 50 graves, the amount of people under 40 and under was shocking. It was like in 50 graves, something like over 20. And that's not normal.
And I can't understand, like you said, you go to music, you could bring it up, no one wants to talk about it.
No, they will say it's not an issue. When I went in, I wanted to know the record of the deaths. What was the record of the deaths in 15, 16, 17, 18, to try and get a graph.
Yeah.
Because the county council would know the amount of deaths. And the deaths have gone through the roof, 21. Our annual deaths are up something like 6,000 or 7,000 per annum. And since the vaccine, there's something like 35,000 extra deaths. It is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And nobody's talking about it.
No.
And if you try to bring it up, as I say, the council say, no, you can't deal with that in here. That's now.
Yeah, they don't want to hear about it. Yeah.
So that's we done percentages. Then there was a guy from RIP.ie. He wasn't from RIP.ie. He's a guy down in Kilkenny.
Patrick E. Walsh,
yeah. And Patrick done a study on the deaths in each county and all that. And the deaths in Waterford, which Waterford was the highest uptake of the vax, was phenomenally up. It was up 40%, something like that. And there's been up throughout the counties throughout Ireland. It's been up 20, 23, 25% long. So there is a problem there.
Yeah.
And then they start laughing it off now. Oh, well, immigration. So they said we didn't have an immigration problem because there was no one coming into the country. And then it's so visible on the street now. So, well, that's why the deaths are there now, because we're more immigrants.
Yeah.
And then we say, no, that can't be the reason, because all these men who go in bypass centres, they're all between 18 and 40. Yeah. So they're military age men. So
and it's sad because with no talking about it, because it's an issue. And I understand it's very, it's a very tough thing to talk about, as everyone knows. But there's if you don't talk about it, nothing's going to happen. And then there's Dr. Peter McCullough, who's one of the best cardiologists in America, who had said, don't do this. He has had a protocol that's very effective from detoxing it. And it's bromelain, curcumin, and Nakatize. But you look it up, Dr. Peter McCullough protocol, it's there. And in fairness, what I expect is for people to talk about it, but not only that, like if a doctor said, look, I made a mistake, take this, that's okay, talk about it.
If I'm doing a building job and I done the roof wrong, because I was doing that on a fiberglass roof and I've changed the product that I use because I found a better one, it's more flexy. And I will put up my hand because you have to admit your faults. And if you don't admit your faults, well, morally, how are you? Or are you going to just keep going and it's doing damage? Them doctors that know now that it's done damage, they should say, well, look, we didn't know and a lot of them didn't know.
No.
And they didn't know. So now that they do know, obviously they do know, they should stop administrating and saying, we're not going to do this anymore. And we give the patients advice, the side effects from the vaccine. It's not always that it's death, it can be several different. I've lost a few of my friends, cancer, One of the lads, Councillor, he was captain of the team that we won the youths that I was talking about. And Pádraig would never, he'd eat the best of food. He'd be always ringing me up and doing this juice, and then always, never, when we'd be out drinking when we were young, he'd be the one that'd have 2 pints, 3 pints to go home. He was very sensible, and he was like a father figure to us. But no, I'm not saying that Pádraig died because of the vax, but I'm saying I don't even know if he did. But he got turbo cancer of the brain, you know. And we've seen it. And I have another very good friend. He 57. He got a stroke, and he can't hold a conversation. Because the stroke was damaged.
But there's not even the problem is there's not even a conversation. And you know the sad part is that someone that might have done it, might take it, and they're worried, and then they're like, oh, no one's talking about it. It's tough. I've met people one or two who've been injured from it, and they're now seeing it still being promoted, and then they're kind of like, they're promoting the thing that's hurt me, and they're like, what kind of a world am I living in that with all the information, all you have to go on to say, for instance, if you flick on to Twitter or even Pfizer or whatever it is, they admit it, and then you have our own people saying to go and get it. And I think psychologically that's very tough for people to recognise maybe the evil that is going on or whatever it is. It's damaging, and it's going to be even harder to recover from.
It's down to what you want to hear as well. Like Leo Varadkar at the time came out numerous times, and he said straight out, you know, it really doesn't matter what you die of if you happen to test positive. Well, you know, if we have you in the hospital or the morgue or whatever the case may be, whatever you call them. He said, we're going to put you down as a COVID-19 death anyway. And he said that publicly, not once. He said it numerous times, posted it on Facebook and everything. So, but yet still there's no receptivity to that kind of an insight. So I think
you could talk on that.
Yeah,
exactly. We move on.
And it's about morals. Only this is a man who, if I'm ever having my house built, I'm going to have Tom, you be doing it because you've got the morals. Make sure it won't collapse on me anyway.
Well, I don't know.
And from that, how did you then, for instance, start getting involved in, say, the county council?
Well, my start in politics, I'd always be observing politics, but I wouldn't be interested at all, you know. And what happened? The Ukrainian war broke out. And then they were putting these modular units into an estate in Newbridge where I lived, and I got involved and I chaired that committee, and I stopped it from going in because it was only.
Did you have support with that?
Yeah, there was a few of us in that committee. There was Noreen Shea and a few others that were very active in that, and we represented the community and we fought against it. We stopped it. We didn't tackle it on straight up issues. We tackled it on, there was flooding in the area, there was sewerage problems in the area, there were several problems that was serious, and we didn't want it on those grounds. That an extra, and it was a green area for the children to play in. And since that's where I started. I led them protests down the town, and there used to be 300 at them. We'd start off the basketball court in Newbridge, and we'd go down the town, and we'd speak outside the town hall every Saturday. And then the elections were coming up, then that was a couple of years afterwards, and someone said, well, you better stand in the election. So then I put my name forward.
And did you want it?
Did I?
Or did you feel that you had to?
I felt I had to. Yeah, I felt someone has. There's no point in walking around and you're not being heard. You have to get people into county council, into the Dáil, and if you don't, you have no voice. There's no point shouting from outside. You need to get involved in the political process, and that's where I got involved. And luckily, I got elected. I was the last one in the country to get elected.
Did you think you were going to get elected?
Did I think? I thought there was a lot more people awake to what was going on. Yes, I did at the time.
You were confident?
I was confident I would get elected.
And do you mind me asking, what was your family like thinking about you going for it?
No,
did they support you?
Yeah, they supported me, but they would just say, like, I'm off on one again, like he's getting involved in this, where is this going? They didn't, they supported me, they didn't They wouldn't be political minded people anyway. You know?
And when you were doing it, say speaking out and say going for the county councillor, did you notice that, was there anyone that maybe you would have been speaking to, maybe been friends with, and their demeanour might have changed to you because maybe you were talking about things that maybe being uncomfortable?
Oh yeah, there was. I used to hold rallies outside about the military age men going into the Gables and I got involved in that protest. Like we lost our swimming pool for the children. It was a place where I done weights and I used to swim. I used to use the sauna, and we were losing that for the children. And I said, my God! And these men just knock in. So I got very much involved in that, and I cannot accept it. From that day to this, what are those men doing in our country? What are they doing? Like, it's outrageous. I think it's beyond outrageous. How people are not objecting to this sort of behaviour.
And were you surprised at how little this worrying thing had affected other people? Like, are you saying, like, why am I really only seeing this? Not saying you're the only person, but why isn't there more people getting, like, saying this is not right?
Well, people are controlled by media, and they describe the likes of myself as been racist.
Yeah.
And I'm the man that I worked in Paris, I worked everywhere, all over England. I worked with different religions, I worked with different nationalities, played football with them. Yeah. So if there's one person, it would have been well known that I was racist prior to this, but I'm not one bit racist. And then you have the media. See, this is where the media are completely gone against the people.
Rogue.
Yeah. They're gone rogue. And they point me out as I'm racist or people of my thinking. Yeah. And if anyone thinks about the facts, not instead of having a conversation, they just say conspiracy theorists. So they have all these key words that say, if you speak about women having more children, which I did during the election, because we're a dying out race. We're only producing 1.1 now. Yeah. Where in my time we had 10 children. Yeah. So right, and then they say, oh, was it? But a mother loves her children. Yeah. What has she got? You can go through life and a woman doesn't have children and she has her independence and she can float around and have a great life. But when she reaches about 50 years of age and she could be on her own, she's no kids. She feels very depressed then, I feel. And I think that's a massive problem now. The cat and the little dog, you know, that's not going to, the family is so important. Yeah,
it is. And look, there's some women obviously who maybe can't have children, and that can happen, of course.
And I'd love if they could have whatever to have children. It's very hard. That's not the issue. Yeah. And if women choose not to have babies, all good and well. But I think it should be incentivized. What I want to do is that the women, say their tax credit will go up 5,000 or 6,000 per year per child, to give her the option of having a child. Yeah. And that's the to incentivize.
Didn't Hungary do that? Didn't Viktor Orban? Didn't he bring in?
Yeah, they done that in Hungary, and actually Gaddafi done it. Libya, he incentivized the family, and So we're in danger. I know people saying, "Oh, what's he on about?" There's loads of them. There's not. No. The world population of white people is only 8%.
That's right. Yeah, they're going to protect the minorities in this, that, and the other. But on a global scale, we are the minorities.
We are the minority. Yeah.
Wasn't it a thing that in Nigeria they had the births? They had something like 8 million or something like that.
Yeah, the births for Nigeria was something like 7 million in 23 or 24. Yeah. And the births for the whole of the continent of Europe was only 6 million.
I saw that. Yeah.
So, like the whole of the continent of Europe, and that's about, I'd say, 30 times bigger than Nigeria or more. Yeah. And
but you know what I did see? I saw a clip. I don't watch mainstream news, but I did see a clip once. I think I saw it or whatever it was. But it was an RT piece that they did. And it was something around the line, because of Ireland's low birth rate, Ireland would have to become a lot more acceptable of migrants coming into Ireland to keep jobs. So this is how it's kind of spinning. It's spinning that like
that's need a sales pitch, but that doesn't even really work, because
I know that, but
a perfectly respectable, progressive country such as Denmark, and other Scandinavian countries, they've proven that of the number of migrants that come in, there's only a section of them that are actually net beneficiaries, net producers.
Yeah.
So the theory that you bring in migrants to replace your own workers suggests you bring in migrants to replace productivity, but it doesn't work that way.
No. Well, we've seen in the medical profession, we've lost something like 40,000 between nurses and doctors over the last 15 years or 16 years. These are all CSO figures. These are all can be backed up. We've taken in 1.7 million in 22 years, and we've lost 1 million of our own. And out of the million of our own, most of them would be going out of here with degrees.
Yeah.
And a lot of them would be well advanced. They would left having good jobs or have qualified from university and had the potential. So we've lost really great people, and we replaced them. So you look then at the average IQ of an African. Right, just take the continent. We get a lot of people here coming from Africa. The average IQ for Africa is 68 to 70. The average IQ of an Irish person is over 100. So you're replacing them not with smarter people, you're replacing them with people that are not. Like 70, an average IQ of 70 is not good. It's not a highly intelligent person, you know.
And I've always said, because I've met nurses who said, I have to go to Australia, I have to go because the rent's too much and I can't have the money. Now, this is what I always said, as a government say, why couldn't they think like this? Okay, they can build an iPass centre, have one there straight away, ready for all these, in many cases, undocumented men. Why couldn't they let nurses, or younger nurses who are going to college, trying to be a nurse, why couldn't they give them rooms and give them free rent? So then that nurse, rather than going to Australia, I know some people say, they want to go and get the experience of Australia and Canada, it's fine. But there's many of these nurses who want to stay in Ireland, but they can't because they can't afford it. So why couldn't they have rent allowance or free rent, whatever it is, in these iPass centres, so then, for instance, that nurse can say, well, I have my rent looked after, so whatever I earn is kind of mine.
Well, you can see there straight away it's a lie. Because,
but you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, if we're spending 2 billion a year or whatever on iPass centres, right? Okay, we've increased with taxes and our petrol and diesel for that, right, and so on. But that's perfect to what you just said there. If you there's iPass centres in Castlebar, there's iPass centres in Newbridge, there's iPass centres in Athy, there's iPass centres everywhere. There's a certain amount of them everywhere. I don't know there's one at a time, but we know there's 2 in Newbridge and whatever. But if they can put them in there, why can't they do that for the nurses and doctors and bring our own back home? Why don't they incentivise them, the small businesses? You see the vape shops, you see the phone shops, you see barber shops, chip shops. They're all getting 60,000 to set up.
Are they? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah. The serious money. It's Leo grants and everything for them. And why aren't they doing that for our own?
Yeah.
But you see, like the nurses say that go away, a lot of them want to come home, and then they're like, I can't come home, so I can't get a house.
Yeah.
So I just, it's an easy fix there for me. It's like, well, actually we can go back to, and then the nurse would say, if she went on holidays even just for a break, and someone said, what do you work as? Oh, I'm an Irish nurse. Oh, what's it like there? Actually, it's really good. My country really look after me. And then they will go in with a higher spirit into, say, the hospital or whatever it is, and that energy, that good energy that they're being looked after, rather than being dragged around and not a place to live and all this kind of stuff, where they're going in maybe of a different energy, they'd be going in of a positive energy, which would feed into the hospital, which would feed into the patients, which would feed into everyone becoming a bit happier.
Well, that really feeds back into the trust thing we were talking of earlier on. That would be described as a high trust society, and trust in a society, in anywhere really, but in a society, the structure of trust is basically when one person can predict and reasonably expect the behaviour in another. Now, I know that sounds like telling me something I don't know, but that really is at the centre of it. So it's very difficult for, say, a young nurse or somebody to trust that if they come back to Ireland, they're not going to get messed over again. They're not going to be thrown into another rut to try and get out of. You know, it's very difficult to trust the system that we're in, and that is a demoralising factor on a lot of people. You know,
but it's the same with houses. If you're a young lad and you went to Australia and you're looking online now, you'd say, why would I go back to that? It's just depressing. I don't have a chance of getting a house and all that kind of stuff, or get a huge mortgage, and then you've got these shackles on you, and you're never going to have a good life. You know, so I don't understand. Like, it's not that I don't understand. I know what's going on.
But look at what's going on with the vulture funds.
Yeah.
They pay no tax. So a private landlord there, he sets up, he has to pay up to 40% tax.
Yeah.
So how is that? Yeah. So the government have gone totally rogue here.
Yeah.
It's just so outrageously obvious, and we have no media to show this out. Sure, my voice wouldn't be heard today only I'm speaking to you.
Yeah.
You know, sure, the vulture funds is the first thing you look at. Is that they're causing a lot of problems. They're charging in Dublin, I'd say near 3,000 for a 2-bed apartment. It's not far off it. Yeah.
And they get deals through the IDA as well. Well, I won't say all of them, but say the bigger ones. To the best of my knowledge, a lot of them get deals. For example, they're exempt from capital gains tax for 10 years, or something like that. Whereas you said, if the local Mike wants to go and buy a house and rent it out, he gets sold with 40% rates of tax right at the outset.
So why is it vulture fund? Why aren't they paying? See, the way I would run it, you'd have ring control zones.
Yeah.
In Dublin, I would have a ring control zone, say for a 2-bed apartment that was sort of 1,300 or something like that, right? A 1-bed was 1,000. Then if you charge those, you paid no tax or very little tax, 10%. And if you went over it, then charge them 70% tax. So then that would control it. And see, we've such a bad opposition in the Dáil. Sinn Féin are just not opposition. Social Democrats, they're not pointing out this. They know how to solve the problem straight away.
Yeah.
And the vulture funds should never be allowed in. There's Indians coming in here now and they're paying. There's a caste system in India. And with the caste system, there's very rich Indians. And they're coming in, they're buying 70%, I think the houses were bought in Dublin last year were bought by rich Indians. And they're coming straight in and they're giving the 600 grand, 700 grand, no mortgages. They have the money. And
it was similar in Australia when I lived there, only over there it was the Chinese.
Yeah.
The Chinese were coming in and they could just seemingly just buy up anything, and it caused prices to inflate massively. But at the time they weren't even living in the houses.
Yeah, same in London, same everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's a big problem. And you should, unless you're an Irish citizen, proper Irish citizen, you shouldn't be allowed to buy a property in
believe it or not, they actually used to have that rule in Australia. I remember looking at a programme now, look, it could be 25 years ago, and I'm quite sure it was in the state of Queensland, where it stated that unless you were a resident there, you weren't allowed to buy a property. In Australia, you know, and that's why, that's a lot of the reason why housing was so affordable back then.
And were you rich people coming in from other countries and vulture funds coming in, they inflate their housing market. They drive it up, the rents have gone up, everything's gone up, and then the ordinary Joe Soap, that's a young lad, a young girl that's buying a place, they can't afford it, they're gone. So what's waiting for them in the airport? And they're gone. They're not able to pay the rents, and they're not able to purchase.
They can't trust the system.
And can I just, because what you're saying is true, but we also have a massive demographic change in Ireland. From your story of, let's say, Swinford, to what we are in now. Okay, and then, for instance, you're going out there and you're swimming till 11 o'clock and all that kind of stuff. But if you look at the country now, I've spoken to people recently, it's not a safe country anymore.
Oh, it's not a safe country, no.
And isn't that so sad to say that? Like, we're such a small island. And
I know guards, and guards will tell you, I know off script, it's not good. It's not good out there. Just see an incident there, I know he had the incident in Henry Street with the shoplifter or whatever, he stole products, whatever, and he could be living on the street, and I think he was, and he was in and out of hostels, and he was barred out when he was causing a bit of mayhem around the city, and it was very unfortunate what happened to him. But there's nobody talking about the 37-year-old Irish lad that was killed by migrants, by apparently two underage, and it's not published. Well, if it is published, it's been kept he was 3 years on intensive care, and he died yesterday, I think.
Yeah.
There's only
Seems to be kind of one narrative coming.
one narrative. It's all about the immigrants saying that shouldn't be in the country or above us at all, going mad with Ruth Carpenter. Like they shouldn't be in the country. In the story, our people that we're talking about, my sons, I've lost 3 of my children, had to go to Australia and Germany. Like they're the people who've been pushed out, and the new arrivals are up now. Crying about it's a George Floyd incident. George Floyd was a no good man. He was absolutely no good, and everyone going around the world bending the knee for George Floyd.
That's right. Yeah.
He was a no good, and they're creating that situation again in Dublin. This guy was now. No one wants anyone to die, and what happened to him? Yeah, it's a very sorry situation, sad situation. But they're all highlighting this. It's all one trajectory coming from the media. And there's nothing about the 37-year-old young Irishman that was going to the shopping centre and got kicked to death. Apparently he got beaten that badly to death.
I think they've pulled the video because it was so gruesome.
Yeah.
So like this, but there's no one talking about that.
Nobody talking about it.
But there's a divide going on there. Like it's been set up like a.
I do wonder that. Like you would wonder because it's so overt and it's so offensive what's going on, that you would wonder at times, is there some force actually trying to set up the conditions for civil war in Europe? And I think of that because, let's just say you did, for whatever reason, want a lot of immigration. Let's say you had a need for a lot of immigration. There actually are examples of states and countries that can do that successfully. So an example would be Dubai. Like Dubai is majority migrants. The difference is though, in Dubai, it's very, very hard to get citizenship in Dubai. For that reason, the migrants who are in Dubai are actual migrants. They're there for as long as Dubai actually needs them. And a day will come when they will leave. That's the difference. Another thing is, if you misbehave in Dubai, the penalties are severe.
Yeah.
You go over there and you respect their ways and you respect their laws, and that's it, and you don't cause issues. Another example of that, maybe a better example because it's a bit more moderate, might be Singapore. That's the same, where they have temporary visas that are for X number of years.
Talk about Dubai.
Yeah.
Is Dubai a Muslim country?
Oh, it is, yeah.
Yeah, right. How come they don't take the migrants?
Well,
Exactly,
I
yeah.
can tell you, there's a
This is the point I'm making, that Dubai is a model where, okay, if you need X amount of migrants for Y economic purpose.
Yeah, but they take them in for work. But why don't they take these boys that are in all our
I was
passes?
just about to say
They don't, but we do.
Why? They are wealthy.
And believe it or not, there's actually a video on the internet, and you've seen it before, of
one of the guy. He's one of the head guys in
Princes.
one of the princes, and
Yeah.
he said, "Europe, be careful what you're doing because we will not allow these in. Who you are allowing in."
Yeah.
And people can laugh what they want. Oh, Trump this, Trump that. Trump said they're sending mental institution people. Like I always say to them, do you think Somalia are sending their best nurses and doctors over here, or would you think that they're sending the people that they don't want from their country? Now, I'm not tarnishing everybody with that, but I'm saying it's a huge problem, and it's not like these are questions now, or these conversations. They're coming a little bit more into, I think, the households now, but this shouldn't be us. This should be our government doing this, but it's like they've gone rogue, and it's just like let them all in.
It's not like they've gone rogue. They have gone rogue.
Yeah.
There's no conspiracy about it. Like
No,
they are
it's
totally rogue. They're anti-Irish government.
Yes.
They're completely to the left. They're pushing this narrative in school about Enoch Burke and all that. Like, you're a boy, you're a girl, you're Mary, you're John, or whatever. That's it. There's no other in-betweens. You can't be calling Mary John, and all this crack, what they're going on with. And anyone that's listening to that is something wrong with them. That's not an entitlement. You're born as a boy, you're born as a girl, you're a male, you're a female. There's nothing else. There is nothing else. It's a mental illness, and people need to be talking and calling it out straight up. And all these lefties that are going around, these people are just crazy, like what's going on with. And the crazies are allowed to run the shop.
That's the problem, because I think the majority of Irish people would say, yeah, I'm not agreeing with this at all. But they're not saying anything. They're saying, well, and the government are running around freely and just doing all this kind of stuff. And it's like the clown show.
Yeah. It's like LGBT, right? We talked about gays and whatever. When I was young, like if anyone was gay, right, to be, you know, they would sort of, it'd be pointed out, and you know, and but nobody ever attacked a gay person.
No.
I'd never, ever seen it. You know, you'd say, well, that person's gay, and we like when we got educated, and we didn't know we were young at school, and then they'd say, well, oh yeah, well, I remember the teacher saying to us, he was a priest, Father Leonard, and he was grand, and he could talk about things, and he said, you know, lads, 1 in 10 is gay. One if there's 30 in the class, there's probably 3, and we just laughed it off. Yeah, Father, and then it was grand, and there was never a problem. And the gay people that I know, lots of them, they're go mad over this LGBT and pushing all these different agendas.
Yeah.
They're not they like to live a private life,
Of course.
do their have their relationships, and they don't.
Anyone's sexuality, Tom, is their own business.
It's their own business.
It's their own business. It's the other thing.
Let them get on with it. They're not, and a lot of the gay people, they don't push their ways around. They don't behave abnormal out in public. They do their own. They have their own private life, and nobody has any problem with them.
Well, I know
but they're putting them into this bag
100%.
with the trends and all that. And these gay people are not. I would say 80% of them are not for
Well, I know.
Same as the
Christian Morris has a platform there, a guy I listened to a few times, and he's a gay man, and he's disgusted with all this LGBT stuff. Like, but they can't let the media can't let that be seen. Because that obviously
that wouldn't suit their narrative. Of course.
Yeah.
What they're pushing. You see, Helen McEntee's husband, he's involved with AbbVie, is it? So they have an insight. So what destroys? We're all young and we didn't know what was this, and when you're 12 you want to be 15, and when you're 15 you want to be 18. You remember you ever got to work, and young children would be confused, and then they're exploiting these young children.
Yeah, it's sad.
And where their sexuality and the young lads is not accepted, and he might be a bit softer than other lads, and then he said, maybe if I was a girl now I'd be more accepted with that. And he gets confused, and they're exploiting them.
Yeah.
And then you find when they turn 30, 35, they're suicidal. This is a real reality, that they're not accepted. They know they made a mistake. Like a lad might want to have a tattoo when he's a young lad.
Yeah.
And then he said, Jesus, when I have kids now and I'm 30 and a big tattoo, and I'm embarrassed about it. But that's a tattoo. But if he has a sex change, that's a massive thing.
But it's in the books now in schools and stuff and all. I don't know how people aren't in arms over this.
Yeah.
It's crazy what's going on. Like if you said to someone from 2021 onwards, what's going on in Ireland, and someone said that's a movie, you'd walk out.
Yeah.
You'd walk out. You'd say this is just crazy.
You couldn't come up with it.
You couldn't.
You just couldn't. It's so crazy. You just say there's no way someone would write a film or draw a film that way, or direct a film that way.
But Tom, if you bring up any of these things, whether it be migration, it's gone even to the stage now in Ireland, in my opinion. First of all, you couldn't talk about, say, COVID. Then you can't talk about the migration. It's gone to the stage that, because in my opinion we're going into a recession, I think we're already in one, you can't even bring up the economy with people really anymore. They might say something about inflation, but if you said to someone like, no, Europe's going into a huge, probably depression. Yeah. People, obviously I get it, people don't want to talk about negative things, but you can't live in La La Land all your life and just talk about good things all the time.
Well, look, let's talk about that, right? We're off immigration, all that stuff. Forget about all that stuff, right? Okay, the COVID vaccines were good for you lads. Anyone, yeah, okay, run with that. Right, talk about hyperinflation. Where is that going? Like, the price of stuff now has gone through the roof.
Yeah.
And I was the first one to start off the fuel protest.
Yeah. How did that come about, by the way?
Well, I noticed what was happening, the price was going up. And I was just sussing out what tax are we actually paying on fuel. And then I noticed 65% taxes. 65% tax on fuel. And I said, why is there such a high tax on fuel? And you have all this carbon, and you see the likes of Sinn Féin going out, they followed on. When they see the fuel protest, they had nothing to do with it. And then when it became popular, they tried to jump on it. But they voted for the carbon taxes
Yeah.
and all this stuff. See, you need a diesel van for anything and everything, or a tractor,
Yeah.
right? A machine. So just look at your rashers, your sausages, your vegetables. They have to be driven from town to town in a van that's ran on diesel, right? And if you're paying that tax on it, that price going on to the woman in the counter. Like the farmer has to do the silage, he has to sow the corn, whatever. Then his prices are gone up because diesel has gone up, right? And then that goes on to the groceries, and then it goes on to the woman buying the shopping. So everything is related, and it's related. And why is there 65% tax? That's why I called the first protest. I was highlighting it.
Where was that on?
That was Martin Hayden's office, Minister of Agriculture in Newbridge. At 1 o'clock on the 28th of March, I called that protest. And then I seen...
Did many come down to it?
There wasn't a lot turned up to it, about 20. And then I noticed there was another protest on the same day, and Independent Ireland had seemed to be involved in it, and seemed to be coming on the back of my one, because I had called my one 3 weeks beforehand. I was highlighting all this, and I used to stop out at McLaughlin's garage in Newbridge, and I'd put a video up with the price, and I'd be explaining about the taxes and that. And then I called the protest, and then I seen this other protest. So instead of, I said to the lads, jump in the van, we go down to Portlaoise, and it was on the Midlands Hotel, and there's building contractors, there's farmers, lorry drivers, everyone, small van drivers, everyone was in it at that. So I sat down, I was listening away, and it reminded me of the Mercosur one in that loan, but I noticed who was controlling the room, and Independent Ireland were controlling the room. You had Michael Fitzmaurice, Ciarán Mullooly, and Collins from Independent Ireland, and I says, why are they controlling the room? Why are they running everything here? So anyways, they says, there any other elected representatives there? Would they like to talk? So there was 1 or 2 others there, and they spoke, and then I spoke. And I says, on that day, at about 5, that meeting was on at 5 o'clock on the 28th in the Midlands Hotel, I says, hit the M50. They were, Mullooly and that was on about writing letters, give the government a chance to come back, and give the government this, give the government that. I says, no, it's not giving the government, they know what they've done. They're taxing us. They're taxing the diesel, and they know well they can just remove it straight away. They could have left the VAT on, and they could have left 1 or 2 of the tax, but out of the 65% tax, they could definitely get rid of, if not all, they could have brought it down to about 25% tax. Yeah, and then our diesel we should be only paying about 120 for it, the white diesel, and the green diesel then for the farmers about 80 cents or less, 75 cents. But they're nailing us, and that's what's causing all the hyperinflation.
Yeah.
So that's what we're experiencing. We're going through we are in a recession. There is hyperinflation. It's happening at the minute. People are not talking about it.
Yeah.
And
not even on the economy show.
No, they're not talking about it, and they're going to bring us into, and they're going to introduce digital ID. I was in London last week at the protest in London, Tommy Robinson's, and I was trying to buy a biro or a pen. I wanted to write down things, and I went to 7 different shops, and they wouldn't take cash. I brought over 300 sterling, and they wouldn't take cash off me. And there was the last one I went to had a cash and a card till, so I was able. So London is, you can't buy a bottle. The next day I was out and I was walking on the Thames on the South Bank, and you couldn't buy a bottle of orange, bare you had a card.
Jeez.
You can't.
Yeah, they're going quicker in England. They're going quicker in London with it. You cannot buy anything in central London unless you have a card. I mean anything. They won't accept cash at all. So didn't Charles say it the other day? Didn't he say about bringing in the digital ID?
Yeah.
Charles said it on television.
Yeah.
He said we're bringing a digital ID into the UK.
Yeah.
He did say that.
Yeah.
Like, and when you say that to somebody, digital ID, because if you said that to somebody 5 years ago, sure, that's a conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Like, how many more?
How many more conspiracy theorists before they wake up to say, lads, we're going, what is going to happen?
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
how many more? Like,
Yeah, but they're all conspiracy, but then, you know,
they're up like 50-0 at this stage.
they all come true. And
Well, look, it's go along to get along, really, isn't it? For most people, they just
Yeah.
want to
But
plod
like,
along,
you could show
not
someone,
deal with it.
you could show someone the Prince Charles, like Charles. You could show him King Charles, whatever he is, and you could show him to somebody. Oh, he said it. Ah, no, he didn't say that. No. Press play, and it's 15 seconds, and we're going to bring, and he'll say it. Now, then you just look at them.
they don't respond.
It's nothing. But it's like the Irish, not the Irish, just the Irish, probably your people, but a lot of people. It's like you show them things, and it's like this freeze in their eyes. The fluoride kind of looks from the water. I don't know what it is, and it's kind of literally like they just in 10 seconds time they're going to completely.
No, you've called them out on the rubbish they're following, and they know then they can't argue with you, so they just move on. But see, they're not confrontational. This is the problem. They're suiting the government because they won't stand up, and basically they don't want to fight. Because I know my wife, Pauline, she won't fight on any level. You know, even she doesn't want confrontation.
But does she
No,
see
she just doesn't want confrontation.
Okay.
Anything.
It's kind
Like,
of Irish thing, is it?
Yeah, no, I don't know. Some people are like that, and I'd be sort of, if I don't see it as realistic, I'll confront it.
Yeah, of course.
And I'll deal with it. I'll say, no, hold on, no, that's not right. But I noticed with her, and she's a fine example, she won't confront anything.
Yeah.
She says, she just get on.
Yeah.
And she says, sure, come on, just get on with it.
Yeah.
That
And
is a common pattern I've noticed. That if people generally, if they feel uncomfortable about something, that's when you know they're just going to deny it. They don't want to.
They deny it and they
Yeah.
move on. And then you say, well, what is wrong with them? And then you say, they just don't want confrontation.
Yeah, but when does it stop? Like, where does it stop?
When?
Do you know what I mean? Like,
What's going to happen? I reckon in 2029 they're going to collapse economies. Now, I'm saying that now,
yeah.
and it's on tape now or whatever. But I reckon they do everything in
Well,
their
it's
cycles.
2030 is the
And
deadline.
it was 1929, the Great Depression, and that was to do with the gold and the Federal Reserve and all that. They're going to do the same. Like what they're doing, people don't realise. They made it illegal for anyone to hold gold in America in their house.
Yeah.
Right? These are facts, lads.
Back,
If you did, you got £1,000 or £10,000 fine or something outrageous, right? So then they bought the gold. I don't know what the price was at the time. They bought the gold for say $50 an ounce, and then what did they do? They made it illegal then, and then they devalued it. They devalued it straight away.
I've seen that.
And it was amazing the trick they pulled.
Yeah.
Everyone put their gold in the banks,
Yeah.
and then they devalued it overnight.
Yeah.
They devalued it by about a third. So yeah, it's.
No, I remember listening to something about that now. Look, it was a long time ago when I first started research, 10 or 15 years ago. So my memory's a bit hazy on that one, but
Yeah.
generally what you're saying is what I heard before, yeah?
Yeah.
And that is what happened in America. And that's actually another example of how the government takes advantage of people's trust. Because back then in America, the documentary that I was looking at, for what little bit of it that I can remember, back then in America, there was a very, very high degree of trust that people had in their government.
Yeah.
So when the government came along and they said, listen, your country needs you, you got to put your gold in with us, blah, blah, let us buy it back, so on and so forth. People said, that's it, we have to do our duty, and they handed the gold over. And that
Ain't the
was
case
it.
now.
So, well,
No.
see, this is the thing. And I think that this is why they're in a tricky situation with the digital IDs and all that type of thing, because the trust just isn't there anymore.
No.
And for that reason, you need, I heard it said before, that you need, but there's really only three modalities through which you can govern people or control people. You can use force, consent, or deceit. They're your three options. So needless to say, they don't have a consent, and they can't deceive. They can still deceive a lot of people, but not the vast majority anymore. But there's too large a minority of people that just will not be deceived anymore. That process of elimination leaves us at force. And I don't think they can get away with that anymore. A recent example of that in action would be all the announcements after the Ukraine war broke out that, we need conscription now to go and fight the Russians or defend against the
They were
Russians.
pumping that.
They were pumping that.
And they want to get rid of Ireland's neutrality.
Yeah.
That's not suiting.
None of that's working out for them.
Yeah, but that's the only thing we're sort of in line with the left, right?
Yeah.
We're against them in a lot. Well, they're against us in a lot of things. But if neutrality goes, because they're on about we can't defend our waters.
Yeah.
They never defended any of our waters. They gave all our fish away, and you see a lot of Fianna Fáil businessmen that are involved in all those trawlers around the coast. They used the small fish that was in near the shore for feeding the fish farms.
Yeah.
And they've reaped all. There's no fish in the local seas in where the Irish fishermen can go.
Yeah.
And it's only out in open seas where they are. And they've destroyed us in every measure. The gas in Bellymullet, the oil down off Cork. Like it's all there. We're totally been mismanaged.
And as well as that, I can't believe these stuff, but the briquettes in Ireland, they closed all the briquettes down. And now we get them from Lithuania or another country, right? And then the other thing was, we have been known for our beef around the world. Irish beef. Obviously, you've got Irish cream butter, right? But our Irish beef has been known as being one of the best in the world with Argentina and things like that. We are now like selling our best beef to France and we're getting our beef off Brazil. Like, and what are they pumping into it? Like, it's gone to the stage where like people say to me, oh, sure, I always say I wouldn't be a fan of the European Union. I don't want the EU to be in the Union. People say, sure, how would we survive? And then like me and Mick have discussed this before, well, sure, how do Switzerland and Iceland survive? They're not in it. And I said, like, if you become a self-sufficient country, it's great for everybody. So then you don't have to rely on, say, if the Strait of Hormuz or whatever, if something happens, we are not panicking saying we can't get these things in. What about, if anything happens in the world, we're okay in our country for the time being because we're self-sufficient. That mindset's just, it's like...
But look, the windmills they're putting up. I'm going to go down to the protest down there now in Laois today down in Liam Gorman's. And that's a land grab to put in windmills down there.
Is it? Yeah, that's why they're so...
So you can go to Ratanga and it's only out the road a few miles.
I'd love to be out there, yeah.
And you have loads of them out there. You have about 40 of those in the... You have a wind farm there.
I used to go for walks in the bog with my dog out there. Destroyed it.
To destroy it. And that was... They came from all over Ireland to work on that bog. There's people who came from all over Ireland to work. There was a camp out there in Ballydermot, and they came there, and now they've replaced. But if you look at the wind, what do you call them, the windmills?
I just call them windmills.
Yeah, right. So they don't move. Because they're in the Midlands. It's not like they put them out down Mayo or Galway on the coast.
Yeah.
They're not moving. I done a video out there, they're not moving.
And here's the thing, people say to me, Trump keeps banging on about windmills. They kill the birds, okay? They're made in China, the majority of them. China don't use them, they use coal plants. They're actually after opening 3 new coal plants last year. That's what China have done. And I think they only last like 8 years or 10 years, and then you have to get rid of them and go again.
That's the lifespan is...
the lifespan is the biggest. And then they're very hard.
I know it's 25 years at the lifespan or whatever.
And then when they do disassemble them, the blades are made out of some alloy that won't degrade.
Yeah.
Pretty much the only thing they can do with them is bury them in the ground.
Lord.
There's landfills in America, there's pictures of it on the internet. Landfills open up the size of what looks like the size of Ireland, off as far as the eye can see in the picture, full of all these windmill blades.
It's like
that can't be good for the environment.
And they look terrible. And here's the thing, like,
they have to go down into the water then.
Yeah.
So it's not good for the environment. It's poisoning the environment. Yeah.
It's kind of like when someone says to me, look, this electric thing, and I was like, it's brilliant. And I always say to someone, there is a gap for electric cars, but then people say to me about the electric this. Like, I said, it's being charged by a generator in some places. So what's in the generator?
Yeah.
I mean, the common sense is just...
Well, you could go in there in the service station. I often went there for a cup of tea and a roll.
Yeah.
And you see the they have to wait there. You know, you run a diesel. You can go in and fill it within 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You go in, you fill your tank, and you move on.
Yeah.
Right? Pay for it, and you move on. They're coming up there. They're paying extortionate rates to charge them. They can only charge about 3 or 4 of them. They haven't got enough to charge, say, 50, 40. So they're queuing up. Half their day is gone.
Yeah.
They have to wait there 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
To queue up their car, to top up their car, and then the next fellas come in. So you could be there 3 or 4 hours. I've seen them.
Yeah.
Just well, they're definitely if the lad in front of you might just cover a top up to get home. Like they're like it's a 2-hour job just to charge a car, and you're on the road.
Yeah.
So you're whole day.
You hit the nail on the head earlier on there. You said that, you know, whatever about a white collar worker maybe can get away with an electric car after commuting to and fro, work in a satellite town or whatever. Rural Ireland will not work off batteries.
No.
You try and run a tractor off a battery, or a digger, or even a van for that matter. A van loaded to the gills with material going to a job. You know, it's not realistic. These people, they're not in reality at all. Another thing is, when they talk about hydrocarbons and oil and becoming net zero and all that, they've no idea just how much we're dependent on oil, hydrocarbons in general, not just for cars and vans. It's in everything. It's in that phone. It's probably in that seat that you're on. Everything requires oil, petroleum products.
Yeah.
The medical industry won't work without them. So this notion that we're going to put carbon taxes on the fuel at the pump and therefore we're not going to emit any more carbon, it's not realistic. It doesn't work.
But look at CO2. It's a lie.
Yeah.
Because CO2 emissions for the whole world is 0.4, right?
Yeah.
Half of that is man-made.
Yeah.
And half of that again is made in China. So Ireland has nothing to do with it. It's like
Tom, you're the carbon we need to get rid of. Tom, you're the carbon we need to get rid of. That's the way the mentality is.
Like the talk about stuff that doesn't the CO2 for Ireland wouldn't even relate to one back street in Tokyo or these places.
No.
Like and we're leading the way in all this stuff. We led the way in the vaccine. Like we lead the way in everything else. Migration, destroying our country. What we need, anyways, lads and girls, that anyone that's listening to this podcast or whatever, we need the men of Ireland to just stop this. And we need to stop this very soon. Now, peacefully, not aggressively. We just say, we've had enough, lads. This is not working out.
And can I ask you, just with the fuel protests, okay, because just from speaking to people and things and analysing it, you know, a lot of people got, say for instance, got a glimpse, a bit more of a glimpse into actually what's going on in their own country, okay? So you had people, for instance, that would never have even thought about this kind of stuff, and then it highlighted that. But then I felt, in my own opinion, and speaking to others, it was like they got whatever, like the people got, for instance, the farmers, whatever, they got what they wanted, or maybe they didn't. I got an element of what they wanted and they left. Now, what I told people to me, look, that protest did nothing for me, or did nothing for anything of waking people up. The only thing I'll say on that is, I will definitely say that there's definitely been a change in the people seeing of the way the government spoke to people, the average farmers and things like that, and the way, in my opinion, that when I think it was 1 or 2 of the guards pepper sprayed a child, and they pulled lads from tractors.
More than 1 or 2.
I know that, and I know a guard who was there, and he said that he is nearly trying to get out of the guards now because he says it's gone rogue. And he said that there's many guards thinking that it's gone rogue and they don't want to be involved in this anymore, but it's the hierarchy that are pushing this towards to do this, to do that, and they don't want to do it. Now, there is obviously some guards in there who love all this. Let's be honest, we've seen a few of these.
There's some aggressive ones.
Yeah, there is aggressive, but a lot of them are just being there. You can see they're covering their face, they're ordinary people, they don't want to do a job, and now they're in an uncomfortable position, in my opinion, because they're sitting there and saying, like, I've met them, I don't want to be in this job anymore, this is not what I signed up for. They're nearly being told to turn on their own people. And I definitely feel that the common person, like all of us and other people, have seen a break in trust now of government and guards. So that's two things I will take from it. But I will say is, did the farmers, they did get what they wanted from this?
No, they didn't get anything. It might suit some of the big farmers, but it didn't. No, they didn't get anything. I'll tell you, I was there. I called the protest at the start, and I was on McDonnell Street. I led up probably the biggest protest in the country for a convoy from Monastrevin.
Yeah.
There was about 300 vehicles in
I saw a video of that, yeah.
300. And I led up another one for the concrete ball and ace on the Thursday. That was Tuesday, on the Thursday. And I was there every day at the protest. From Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday and Sunday. And I left there Saturday night. We knew the guards, or I should say the mercenaries were coming. And there was about 12 to 1400 mercenaries coming in boiler suits to beat us up. And the lad says to me we were up in Burger King in O'Connell Street upstairs, and they said, come on, we're standing for, I says, there's only about 20 of you there, lads. I says, they're going to beat you to pulp and lock you in jail, bring you to court. And I said, please, do not get involved in that. Just whatever they're doing, let them do it. If they ask you to go, just try and hold tight, but don't get involved in any fighting with them, because they will beat you up. They're instructed to beat you and arrest you. So, and you'll come out, you lose your job. So it's not that the farmers left. They told them they put Section 8s on their tractors and lorries that were all there. There was more than farmers there. There was a lot of lorry drivers, fellas with vans like me. I'm in construction, I had a van there. There was hauliers there. They would have started sculling them out, and a lot of them are automatic starts on them. And if you start pulling them when they're immobilised, you'll destroy them. You could cost 5,000, 10,000 of damage. So they put Section 8s on them and all this. It was very heavy-handed, very heavy-handed, smashing into the windows with their battens in the morning at 4 o'clock. So
it's crazy that this is actually going on in Ireland.
Yeah.
It's not that the farmers gave in, and they were never listened to. Our side was never listened to. I was one of the men from our side, but I didn't get involved because John Dallin, James Gagan and Christopher, and there was 2 lads came from the west of Ireland, then there was Burnman and Dolan. They came up to represent the west. But they didn't let them into the talks. They engaged themselves. The government were going to engage themselves with the IFA. Yeah. Right? IFA doesn't represent the men that was on the street. IFA had nothing to do with the protest. And the other ones that went in was the Road Haulage Association. But they didn't want to go, neither of those organisations wanted to go ahead with the protest.
Okay.
So they weren't representing the people that was on the protest. So there was no one representing our side, if you like, in at the meetings. Yeah. So then they come up with this crap deal. And it's not that people were stepping down. You have to look at it from the point of view of when we went on the protest, did we go for 1, 2 or 3 days? We were there a week now. A lot of lads had lost work and whatever. But I think the next protest, every man, woman and child in this country wants to be on it. And it will come up.
Do you think it will?
Oh yes, I know it will come up.
And what would that be? Because of the cost
We
of
need
living?
to go in and campaign. We need to go in and camp. Why? It's not about fuel. There's a lot more going on. You have the fuel issue. You have the iPass. You have the immigration. We mentioned the vaccine. We have a lot going on we need to talk about. We need to talk about digital ID. Yeah. We've been sucked in to the mental, and we're going to be minced out if we don't stop this in the next one. So I think everybody that's a grievance with what's going on in the country needs to be there. We're paying for our own demise. We're being taxed.
That's the sad. 50, whatever tax we're paying is paying for our own demise, like you said.
Yeah, we're paying for our own demise. We're paying to be destroyed. We're actually paying the government to destroy us. You know, every time you put a litre of fuel in your van or your car, you're paying 65% taxes. They're using that money to put these people in iPass centres and you're paid to destroy you.
Yeah.
And where does all that money in iPass centres go? It goes to his friend Benji McEnany. Benji McEnany, big in the GEA, right? All this businesses is done in the corporate boxes in Croke Park. You have all the EIB, Bank of Ireland, you have all these top GE officials all in around them, and all the need. Bandy McEnany's sister was a top EIB woman. Bandy McEnany was in debt over 25 billion from the last recession. And now he bought up all the properties from those people that were in trouble from before. They took them off the money because they were behind a bit. I know a man, Fergal Deary, had Master Dairies in Monaghan Town, where he's from, around that area. And Bandy McEnany took over his business. It was a big pub and nightclub he had there. And so it's an inner circle. And he's brought in he's made between 250 300 million out of iPads.
On the breakdown of Ireland. So this is like, as in, he's making money on the breakdown of Ireland.
Yeah.
Like, this is what's really sad for me, that an Irish person can do that to their own good. Like, it's a traitor, treason, it gets thrown around, but we are dealing with a lot of treason at the moment.
Yeah.
And that like, people forget in many countries what the punishment for treason is. Like, and I always say, like, it's like when I speak to somebody, say, if you meet them and you say to them, like, they go, oh geez, no, it's not good what's going on, the migration, all that kind of stuff. And I said, if it's bad now and you're not talking about it or not doing anything about it, I said, and you've children, and I say, you might bring your children to Disneyland Paris now next week and all, and that's great to have them great memories, but in 8 years time, in 5 years time, what are they going to turn around when they're maybe a minority in their own country, or they're completely screwed? Their children, that group are going to say, like, why didn't you talk? Like, what did you do? What did you do to do this? Oh, I just you mocked them at the start. You called them a conspiracy theorist. You just went on your holidays, and it didn't affect you directly, didn't hurt you directly, so you just kept on doing your own thing. Like, that's a terrible way to be remembered.
Well, if I was the son of that man, I would look at my father as being a coward, a pure coward, a godless coward that let his country be destroyed. And that's exactly what it is. We've too many cowards in this country. And while you have cowardly men, you'll never have a country. They have destroyed it for their children. They've destroyed this country. I was looking down the eyes of Muslims last night in a bog in Laois. And I looked at them eye and eye, I told them, get the fuck out of our country. Get out of it. We don't want you here. What are you doing in here, going around pushing this man, a land grab down there? Yeah, you need to be standing up, and we need to be confronting these people. But we need to get out in the street. I mean, if we're going to solve this peacefully, if we get the Million Man March, we should head everything to the Million Man. Get in. We go to Dublin and we don't go home. We don't go home till we have it sorted. And
just like you're saying, the march, just bring it in that where you were last weekend.
Yeah.
Huge march.
Yeah.
Hundreds of thousands.
Well, I would say there was rumours, there was 100,000, and then there was video evidence saying there was 1.2 million.
I think the media said there was 30,000.
So
I just
and the reason I attended that, and you see a lot of these left wing and shinners and all that, Sinn Féin have to realise that they sold out, Jerry Adams sold out this country in 1998. And anyone that signed the Good Friday Agreement sold out Ireland. That's what happened in 98. The Good Friday Agreement, they relinquished the rights to the 6 counties. That's Article 1 and 2 of our Constitution. You look up the Constitution 1937, the rights to all our lands and seas of the 32 counties. Éire is the name of the state. Ireland is a corporation. That's another conversation for another day.
Yeah.
But Ireland in capitals is a corporation. And you'll find, if anyone checks back with Inland Revenue and everything else, it's all going back to the City of London. But that's a conversation for another day.
Did you find the experience over in, did you find it very good over in London because I'll be honest with you, like, a lot of people saw your video online. Hundreds of thousands of people are viewing this. And I did see you also had a letter for
Donald Trump, for the American government. And we have a letter that how we close the borders and how we'll deal with things going forward. And we need the help of the Americans. Now, people will say here, Donald Trump's not going to help us, but they have a big input in Ireland, a big input. All our economy is, I'd say over 60% of our economy is ran off American factories in Ireland. You have all in Kildare alone,
Yeah.
and they were on, I was attending council meetings, and a lot of them are going back there. They're Jewish owned and whatever the factories in Ireland, and they're Americans. They have a big say in Ireland, and if Howard Ludnick or any of them, if they want to do things, they can do things in the click of a switch as regarding Ireland.
I would agree. Yeah, I would agree with that, because I would be one now who would be, say, a little bit cynical when it comes to political solutions, that type of thing. But on the other hand, you do have to acknowledge that when the Americans say pull the pin on something, for example, the USAID or USA or whatever they call it.
USAID, yeah.
Yeah, that does make a massive difference.
Well, the NGOs are feeling that because they were getting all the money and through all these different things that no one, like people don't, a lot of Irish people don't know anything that goes on in America. I've seen it, it doesn't interest me. And I said something like, it's huge, and it doesn't, like what happens in America, it does affect you.
Yeah.
And I said, it does affect the economy and everything like that. And I've had people, I said, have you ever checked out what's going on in USAID? I said, like what they were funding, like it's so much fraud, billions of fraud, and he's finding it all. And at least he's going in and finding it all and exposing it. Whereas I find it's just cover up after cover up here. Like you say, like for instance, example in Ireland, the hospital, the children's hospital. Like, how long has that been built? How long has it been done?
We'll go with the facts on that, but if you want to talk about that, who owns BAM? Right, people just, with the AI now, you can do a lot of research. You use Grok, right? And I said to people, use Grok, right? So you type in, who owns it? Royal BAM. Where Royal BAM registered? In Holland, right? Who owns them? BlackRock.
Well, BlackRock and Vanguard own all the
this is why they want to take the AI away from us. That they were complaining about using AI, you know, for pictures, misuse of photographs.
You want to regulate it. You remember that?
But you can actually get anything you want on AI now, and it's verified. It's there, like it's 100%.
Yeah, you can ask it for references. And we'll check it.
And you can check it out through other AIs and whatever. But Royal BAM, that hospital started at something like 450 million, right? And now it's going to finish around 3 billion. It's going to finish around 3 billion. Mm-hmm. It's an overspend. She's at 2.3 now, but there's 800 million extras gone in. So they'll have to be paid out. So I think it'll be 3.1 billion. It would definitely be around the 3. You can close that off at 3 billion. Right. They've no nurses. They've no doctors for it. They need about 5,000 staff, I think. Yeah. They've no car parking spaces there.
Oh.
There are no car parking spaces. I think there's only 360 car park spaces. And the staff...
You would think they would have put that somewhere else.
Well, the obvious place to build that was down at Lincoln to Telehospital. There was they were offered a greenfield site there. And I say that for 2 reasons. Because you're on the M50 for linking up all the motorways. You have the Lewis going to there.
Yeah.
Right? The Lewis can link people to it. And the motorways coming from, like, as you're coming up from the south of Ireland, they all come in there at that area. So that's a vast amount of people coming in there. And you'd had no problems building on a greenfield site, any builder will tell you. And they happened to build it on probably the worst site in Ireland, where they built it. It was over, they were finding rivers and streams under it, they were finding all sorts of things in it. Yeah, so they went for an awful difficult build. And if you built it out in a green area, you'd have loads of car park spaces, you'd have so many pluses, it was unreal. Why they done all the things.
But like Tom, you'd have to say they have a good record. Like they did the bike shed as well.
Yeah.
They're
trustworthy.
They're very trustworthy. And well, look, like I just.
You could go on forever and talk
about
about
it. And look, I just wanted to say thanks very much for coming on.
Absolutely.
And look, there's so much going on that hopefully we can have another conversation again down the road. And this will be obviously on our social media websites and things like that. So that's what we're going to be doing, interviewing people all around the country, businesses, and see how they're being affected. Because there's other places that are being affected that people don't even think it's been affected. And it's important.
You look at the high streets in any town, you look at the main streets, there's no small businesses. And all the small businesses are coming in, they're foreign owned.
Yeah.
They're chip shops, and they're all giving 60 or 70,000 pound grants. the vape shops. Like, why do we put vape? Why would you give? I don't know if they give them grants, but why would you let them on the high street? You know, why would you?
Yeah, you could drive through Kildare and
Tobacco is actually healthy for you. Tobacco is actually good for you, but
That's correct, yeah.
and nicotine is supposed to be good for you.
Yeah,
but
I've seen that.
all the smoking that is carcinogenic is bad for you.
Yeah, because it's all the other stuff that they put in.
It's bad for you. Yeah, it's carcinogenic. You know. Anyways,
that's critical. That's too much critical thinking now. Well, Tom, I was going to say thanks very much. I appreciate that. And keep going on, and we'll talk to you soon.
Well, I'm heading to the bog now, down in Leash.
Good man. You never stop, Tom.
Let's keep going.
Thanks, Tom.
Fair play to you, Tom. Thanks very much.
Sound.